Hello everyone, welcome back to Pris Corner with me Pris. Hope you're okay wherever you are. Today on What's Real or Not episodes, I'm gonna be discussing another Japanese comic slash manga series, which I already covered on my main channel on Anchor. This series titled Kindaichi Shonen no Jikenbu or Kindaichi Kespa, translated in English. This series was made by a lot of people, but I think you'll be familiar with Fumiya Sato, Semaru Amagi, Yusaburo Kanaki, and other people as well that already contributed on this series. The main series, which contains 78 volumes, pretty long, and then they have another mini series like Short File series, which contains 6 volumes, Cage series, which contains 10 volumes, and New series, which contains 14 volumes. As you already figured out, this series was in rivalry with Detective Conan, the series that was made by Aoyama Yamaguchi. So it's full of detective themes and thriller and actions, except the murder case is a little bit more gruesome and ironic than the murder case in Detective Conan. If you want to know more about this series, I will leave the details in the link in the description box below. And let's jump right in on What's Real or Not episode today. I already concluded the series was based by 90% reality, 5% gray area, and 5% fantasy. As usual, I will start with the fantasy part, then go to the gray area, and lastly on the real part. As usual, as in the series followed the adventure of Hajime Kindaichi and Miyuki Nanase, and basically they kinda had an unfortunate fate meeting with a murder case every single time they go to some place, whether it's close or whether it's far from their living space basically, and Hajime kinda solved the crime at the end and the culprit get arrested. One other thing that I think is a little bit fantasy is about their school. As usual, I always mention the school because basically they're still in high school, second year of high school. So at first start of the series, the author kinda tried to make a little bit sense, but yeah, this happened because they have like a school trip, they being asked to help, and still makes sense in that part, but over the course of the time they start drifting off. And I think they skip class a lot because they go on vacation a lot or go on a holiday basically, because they're being invited to go here, to go there, by reality show, by someone they knew, and other things as well. So I just kind of worried about their school basically. That's pretty confusing for me, how they can graduate from their school and never I think rarely show an image of they going on an exam, unless in some cases when they go in school, which like a festival thing. Still there is some other case and cram school, I think like an extra lessons that you have to learn on other places outside school. Yeah, but that's it about the exam of the school itself. Yeah, about the school exam. Other things don't mention a lot, and it seems they never get old or they can like go into the senior year, so it's never mentioned like that. So they're still in the second year for all eternity maybe. And over the course of the time, so the school not mentioned anymore, which I think it's a fantasy, and they kind of like skip class here and there, and the teachers never ask them about it. There's never seen about it, and their parents kind of like, yeah, it's okay. Usually, when your parents hurt you that you're being involved in some murder case, they gonna like, stop, you're not going out again, because there's a murder case and they're afraid of your safety basically. But well, yeah. And one other thing is like, every single time the case is always revolved around revenge. I think it's normal to not like someone and want to take revenge on someone, but everything always revolve around murder case at the end. Like there isn't other way to solve it basically. Yeah, but yeah, you can sympathize with the culprit anyway, because yeah, about the bacon story that they're gonna spill out at the end when they get arrested. Yeah, I still understand, but why do you have to resort to that kind of thing? It's not real basically. And always, even though it's kind of makes sense that if you want to make like a close off murder case or like lockroom murder case and things like that, it always, you have to always cut the communication line, basically a telephone line or a way for you to go out of these places basically and go to somewhere safe, I guess. The only safe place is maybe your room, even though it's not really that safe. And they always cut the telephone line and things like that. That's cliche that always happen every single time. I know it's kind of makes sense, but every single time it's always like that. And most of the cases is like a lock room murder case. So basically in a closed off space basically, and you kind of have to figure out what's going on and how they can kill the victim. Yeah, it's always like that. So it's kind of cliche, and maybe the parents is kind of okay with they go into places that always and every single time they always meeting with the murder case for Hajime and Miyuki. I mean, if Hajime, of course you already know that he is the grandson from Kosuke Kindaichi, a famous private detective. Maybe it's still understandable, but Miyuki is just like normal people that live a normal life. So I don't know why her parents not react as much, or maybe she never told them basically. But you must be know from the news, I guess. But yeah, okay, that's the fantasy part of it. Let's move on to the gray part of this series. The gray part of the series, like the trick that being used, and sometimes the circumstances that happen is kind of, I don't know whether it's real or not, because you're gonna test that on people, right? It's just a theory after all. Like some tricks that really like for example, like in some murder cases, there's one, I guess I forget about, is the Isle of Hidden Treasure or the Graveyard Island Treasure 2, I guess. I forget in which one of this case or other cases maybe, that one of the that being used is using a chicken blood. I don't know where you can buy chicken blood or you already prepare it, but usually it's gonna make noises basically, because basically you being isolated on an island, so basically you had to hear it, some noises, I guess like a splash thing or something, because it was pretty silent, you know, maybe only the sound of the creep basically, only like click 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 like that can only be heard. But I wonder why people cannot hear that, and if they use a real chicken, why the chicken is like a pop 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 to kind of make a noise. But I think the chicken is already dead and the blood is already compiled. Some detectives that being used in these cases, I don't know whether it's real. Like in one case is about the hotel murder case, where the culprit is actually like a little boy, but actually he's already like 20 or almost 30 years old, but he's being isolated, like apparently he's being trapped in some cave with his father, and apparently he's the only one who survived. I don't know what kind of things that he ate, but he never received any sunlight, so the body is still small. I don't know which this theory is gonna be true if you're not receiving sunlight from when you were in a growing phase. Basically, your physical body not gonna get taller and you still look like a small child. Maybe I don't know whether it's real or not. So that's one of the things that I kind of confused about it. And other things is just like every single time the culprit have a motivation of revenge for doing the murder case, but I don't know why the culprit is really smart. I mean, are really smart in that. How can they think of a trick, even though like it's always shown that they already planned it for a very long time, years take to plan this murder case. But I just like kind of wonder, they really that smart? Even I mean, years to make that plan. I guess it could be true if you take years, but sometimes it just, how smart are they? Basically, maybe because there is a will, there is a way. Maybe that's kind of thing that happens. I don't know whether it's true or not, basically. And sometimes the tricks that involve like maths and physics, chemical and biology, I don't know whether they're based on the real fact, or it is based on the theory itself, or based on the knowledge of the author itself. So I don't really know whether it's real or not. If you know, please let me know in the comment, basically, because I don't really familiar with those kind of things, because yeah, after all, it's a forensic thing and other things as well, like a deductive skill and reasoning skills. Yeah, that's kind of thing that's I think still gray. Let's move on to the real part, shall we? And for the real part itself, I think like the base motivation of the murder case, why it's happened, the motivation of the culprit itself is revenge. Yeah, like I mentioned in the preview part, that sometimes this culprit was being treated unfairly, and sometimes they take revenge for someone else, sometimes they take revenge for themselves, because the victim apparently like mocked them or insulting them in some way or the other, whether verbally, physically, or whether the victim abused them in some way, and things like that. I think this part is real, that people can get revenge on you if you done those things, and if you being shown the flashback of it, why it's happened and why it leads to this way, yeah, you can understand. Yeah, most of the victims were such an asshole, basically. But there's sometimes that the victims is innocent, basically they don't know anything about it, and the killer just killed them. Yeah, that's one part of the thing that maybe can happen, and most of it stem from misunderstanding, and I think not really research things properly. I mean, they don't really know about the truth really objectively. They just see it from their perspective, their assumption, and they just go along with it. So I hope in this real life, yeah, it can be happen. I hope from this series you can learn that. Try to be a little bit more objective in seeing things and not go with your first emotions. I know sometimes it's sad if you lost the loved ones, but just be careful to not make the mistake like the culprit in the series, because basically most of it happened because of that. Because they misunderstand things, they did a mistake that they already cannot turn back to, or they already cannot reverse it back to normal again. So be careful of that. Try to research things first to know the real truth, the whole truth of it, and try to look at it as objectively as you can, and just not go with your first impulses or your first emotion at it, because emotion can be dangerous at times. Just be careful about that. Don't go to swept up by your emotions. That's the thing. And okay, I think that's conclude our real part, and that's conclude from these what's real or not episodes. I want to mention a few cases that few art cases that I think is good. Like if you want to check out, firstly is the Opera House murder case. They usually end up with, most of the cases is usually end up with Satsujin Jiken. It means murder case. Jiken mean case, Satsujin mean murder in Japanese. So first is the Opera House. It's the very first one that you're gonna It's the very first few chapters anyway, so you're gonna find out very easily. The next thing is the Legend of Broken Heart Lake Murder, and then the third is Kindaichi the Killer, when the detective is being suspected as the killer. It's pretty interesting. And then the Castle of Wax, the Castle of Wax, basically murder case. And then Gentleman Thief the Killer. Next, the Black Butterfly of Death Murder. And because they also incorporate some of the things that you can find on Sherlock Holmes cases too, like Murder in the Forest of the Demon Dog, like the Demon Dog of the Baskerville in Sherlock Holmes cases. And lastly, the Demon Killer of Projection Screen. Oh, I forget. There is Inspector Kenmochi case files, so you want to check it out too. And the Rose Crooks Mansion murder case, I guess, is related to Yoichi Takato. I did not know if the name is right. It's an info mansion, and there's rose and there is a cross. The mansion is shaped in a cross thing, in a cross shape basically. It's info about Yoichi Takato. You're gonna learn more about him. And about Reika Hayami, there's other cases in Shanghai, I guess. You can check it out if you want to know about Reika Hayami too. And that's all. That's basically all the cases that I think pretty memorable. Even though all the cases pretty memorable for me, this one is a few that really impressed me a lot. Yeah, and kind of like, I don't know why, again, I kind of remember it pretty clearly other than the other cases, I think. And that's all for What's Real or Not episodes. And thank you for listening so far. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram to know what kind of contents that I'm gonna be uploading both on KoFi and on my main channel Anchor. And don't forget to stay tuned on my KoFi page and also on my main channel Anchor. Hope you enjoy my content. Hope you try to read this series even though it was pretty damn long. Yeah. And hope to see you soon. Bye bye.